Hey there guys, it's Ripshot Blue coming at you with a new video. Today we're going to be doing TCG Card Shop Simulator on how to add new cards on top of the base game cards. This is going to be relying on 3 mods. It's going to be using the expansion mod, it's going to be using a new cards mod if I'm not mistaken, and art expander. I'll put on screen right now if I got any of the names wrong. As you can see, the exact mod names are on screen. They'll also be linked in the description. And yeah, this is really just how to add custom cards. So once this game's into it, I will quickly give my demonstration of the 2 cards I have added in this game, and then we'll go ahead and just throw you the basis of how it's done. Alright, so we just loaded into the game here, and I am going to show you real quick that if I open up my binder, you'll notice that it says I have 123 cards when the base amount that the binder would say is 121. If we go into here and just go into TCG price, go to cards, we can very quickly just mash click. And this would be the normal last card, but I went ahead and added 2 cards. We have a Lara Croft card here, all with different arts. And we also have a Duke Nukem, again, all with different arts. And you'll notice that full art here and the first edition, both foil, the art's blank. Some images won't work. It's trial and error, of course. You know, not every picture is gonna work. Some formats just the game does not like. You know, try different things, try different pictures. It's really up in the air on that. I don't have all the specifics on what you can and can't do for the images. I just know very minor guidelines, and I'm going to be showing you how to do it, and I'll explain those guidelines once we're in there, you know, making the cards. Alright, assuming you have the mods I mentioned in the beginning installed and all set up correctly, your Bepin.ex folder should look very similar to this as you see on screen right now. Now, we're just going to be adding custom cards. We're not going to be touching anything else per se. So this is just solely for that. If you want to change the base game cards, that is not this tutorial. This is just adding cards, as well as adding art to each card in the, adding art to each one of the cards individually for each format, and if it's foil or not. So instead of me stumbling on my words here, let's get right into it real fast and quick here. I don't want to overcomplicate things. So in your Bepin.ex folder, you need to go into patchers, and you need to go to TCG Shop New Cards Mod Preloader. In there, you will have a Config.ini, you'll have a DLL, you'll have monster configs and monster images. These will normally be empty, but if we go into images, you'll see there's my base art for Laura and Duke. And if we go into configs, there is a Duke and a Laura config. Now I'll have a pastebin link or some sort of link to go somewhere that'll have a blank version of this template. But for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy Duke's. And so I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to pretend that this was the template, which it'll be called blank.ini. That is the template. At least that's what it'll be named when you get it. My PC's freaking out because I'm doing a lot of stuff in the background with my hard drive, so I apologize. But once it's in there and saved, you'll see we have the ini. We're going to want to go ahead and open it in Notepad. Now that we have it opened in Notepad, we want to go ahead and change the name of the card to whatever you want to name it. We're just going to name it test card. Artist name, it's not Banana Bob Joe. We're going to call it YouTube Test. That last name was from the last attempt of recording this. I don't like that attempt, so we're redoing it entirely. So we're going to go ahead, clear up description there. We're going to make this empty. We want the name of the card. This is very specific. The name of the card up here needs to be the same as monster type. It also needs to be the same as, where is it? Right here, name. I'm not exactly sure why or the specifics of that, but it is what it is. They need to be the same name. Monster ID. This cannot override a base game ID if you're adding a new card. And this cannot override one of your currently ID'd cards. Because the way the game looks at cards, it doesn't look at the name, it doesn't actually look at the stats. When you pull cards from a pack, it sees numbers as what you're pulling. So the 7 or so cards in your hand, it sees like card number 30, card 14, card 118, you know, just numbers. So the ID is the number that you're pulling, or the card per se. So these IDs cannot overlap. The first number you can use is 122, which you can see in this Laura Innie here. Her ID is 122. That is the first number you can have. So if we go back into here, we're gonna make him a 124 because the card before it was 123. As you can see, Duke Nukem here on the right side. Monster type ID 123. So we're gonna go ahead in the notepad, make it 124. Now, if we want evolutions, you can specify the evolutions here. I'm not going to because I've already done it as a test in the last one. I can show you Duke's example for that. But you would just have it, instead of it saying it none, have it the exact same name of the card you're making it. So if we wanted this to be a Lara Croft evolution, make it say Lara Croft. If we want its previous evolution to be Duke Nukem, make it say Duke Nukem. You know, and it's that simple. Rarity, the rarity isn't the odds of pulling it, it's what pack it's going to be in. So you have basic, or sorry, you have common, you have rare, you have epic, and you have legendary. So this is just which one you're going to make it. I'm going to say it's a legendary test card. The roles, skills, these don't actually matter as far as I'm aware of. There's no functionality to them, same as these. These are all just numbers, flavor stuff on the card until, you know, the actual game does something with it. Description could be whatever you want. We're going to say test text. Sorry, I'm trying to type around my microphone. Going here. And then the element can be water, earth, wind, or fire. And that's, you know, just the card element. Each card has an element. It's morally based on the tables, the play tables. Some of the cards can change effects, the values of different elements and different rarities, different things like that. This would affect that. I believe we have a fire and a water already, so we'll do a wind. This will be a wind test. And I believe that is fully filled out. Once it's all done and good, you just want to save it. I'm going to Control S. So I'm going to just click save there just to be sure. We also don't want the ini to actually be named blank.ini. It has to be the same name as the card itself. So since it's named test card, we're actually going to go ahead and do save as. And we're going to go over here, delete blank. It's now named test card.ini. All right, now we can get out of there. You can actually delete blank because don't want filler stuff. All right, so technically that's it. Cards in the game. That's all you have to do. If you want a card, no images. If you want a card with images, well, this is where the next step comes in. You want to go back to the folder beforehand. And now you want to go to monster images. This is where you're going to need some kind of picture. Doesn't matter what. You know, this is just going to be the base picture of the card. So let me go ahead and find one, and I'll be right back once I've done so. All right, I now have a picture. We're going to go ahead and copy paste it in. And this is the picture I ended up using. There's just the first one I found on my hard drive that I figured YouTube's not going to ban me for. So this is what we're going to use, and the name of it needs to be the exact same name as the card itself. So since we know it's just called test card, just like this, same capitalization with a space, all that, same good test card. Go in here and we have test card.ini, and now that'll be its base game image. Before we try to look at it in game, there is one small tweak you're gonna have to do, and that's this config.ini in this folder. You're gonna want to open it up in Notepad, and for Tetramon Max, you want to make this say 999. This is just so the game knows to look for more IDs through the files if there's any. It won't cause issues if you don't use them all. It's just there'll be issues if you don't have enough and you add cards. So if you crank it to 999, that's the max you can do before it starts doing megabot stuff. So just change it to 999. Go ahead, give it a quick save once it says 999, and you can go ahead and back out of that. Now we'll quickly go in game and I'll show you what the card looks like in game. All right, we are now currently loading into the game with our new card added, our, little test card. It's gonna take a minute here to load. So as it does that, excuse me, there's a few things I wanted to go over here real quick in my notes once we find them here. Yes. Okay, so for my notes here, the only thing I really have written here that I haven't already covered, which is the recommended resolution. I have found using a resolution of 410 by 512 is the best resolution for full art cards, and that is actually the dimensions of the card itself, but that's the whole card. So if you use this resolution for all cards and not just full art, you may notice it'll clip a little bit from the top of the card where the name goes, and a chunk from the bottom where the information like the stats and the play effect and all that is. So you want to keep that in mind. You also may want to use this resolution or a resolution in the same range for all your cards if you're adding a whole bunch, because the bigger the resolution, the more RAM you're going to need for the more cards, because it has to all load into your RAM as the game boots up, as you can tell from my long load time. It's only loading 3 cards. It doesn't normally take this long at all. It's just I have a lot of background stuff going on my hard drive, loading and rendering and stuff, so the game does not like me recording, playing, rendering, sorting, doing all that in the background at the same time. My PC's very busy today. Another thing I wanted to quickly go over is the IDs. I don't entirely know how to do Megabot, Fantasy cards, or Cat Drop cards, but I have figured out what IDs the game uses for all 4 of the expansions. For Tetramon cards, it uses IDs 1 to 121. For Megabot, it uses IDs 1000 to 1112. For Fantasy, it uses 2000 to 2049. And for Cat Job, it uses 3000 to 3039. There's 121 Tetramon cards, 113 Megabot cards, 50 Fantasy cards, and 40 Cat Job cards. This does not include different variations. That's a whole other thing that I'll go over once the game loads and I can show you the image or the art. Alright, so the game has finally booted up, so we'll go ahead and we will open up our binder, if I can remember my binds. My lord, my PC really does not like me rendering stuff while I do this. The game doesn't normally hiccup like this, I swear. I'm rendering a bunch of things in the background. Alright, so as you can see, now we have 124 cards, which if we go ahead and open up the phone, because my computer's gonna have a heart attack if I do it through the binder. Alright, here we go. It finally loaded up. Alright, so if we go into the phone, we go to TCG price, we go to cards, and we go all the way to the back. There is our new test card. Test card first edition, basic. Alright, being back in our Beppin EX folder, we want to add art to that card, because obviously we don't want just one, we want it to have many. To bedazzle, make it pretty, make it stand out. So to do that, we're going to go into our plugins folder this time and go into Art Expander. We want to go into Card Art. Animated is for ghost cards. You can read information about it on the mod page. We're not doing ghosts, we're just doing regular Tetramon cards. That's a whole other topic. It's slightly different, but it's mostly the same. If you want information on that, you can check out the mod page for that. This is just so you can get the basics of the basics. So we're going to Card Art. And here you'll see default and foil, because the way the game looks at the cards is it sees 6 versions of a card, and as well as a foil or non-foil version of it. Meaning there's technically 12 versions of a card in each expansion, or in each set sort of thing, which means there's also 12 of a card in the Destiny set. So you have 12 base cards, 12 Destiny cards, which makes 1 card if you add, technically have 24 in the game. So because of that, we want to make sure that we're doing default and foil properly. You don't got to worry about doing Destiny cards because it auto copies the card from normal to Destiny. That's how it works. There's only one card, one card, and then auto does it. So we just need to do one. No more technical jargon, just one. So we're going to go into the default folder. Inside the default folder, you will see all the expansions, including one that says all expansions. I don't use the all expansion folder. I'm sure you can. I don't use it. Mine's completely empty. I'm sure it's there for people who want to just throw it all in one folder. I don't do that. I keep them all nice and tidy. So we're going to go into the Tetramon folder. In the Tetramon folder, you will see there's a base folder, EX folder, first edition, full art, gold, and silver. This is the forms of the card it's looking for. So if we go into base, you'll see I have a Duke Nukem card already in here. But you'll also ask, where's the Laura card? Because I do have a base of Laura. If you have a image in the other directory, which is in my PC's dying. Alright, now that my PC is done dying, if we go into the other directory, we go into patchers, where we were before, we go to images, you'll see I have my Laura picture here. This is the base image that it's using, and the way it works is it'll either override this image if you have one in the alternative card mod. So if this image of Duke was different, it would use the one in alternative card mod instead of in here. If you do have a image in here and not an alternative card mod, at least for the base card, it will use the base image. So which is why you don't see a Laura card in there. But we're gonna go ahead and just take our test card here, and we're gonna go and copy paste it into our base folder. So we're gonna go back into the other folder here once my PC stops dying again. All right, now that's done dying, we're going into the Beppin folder, into plugins, into art expander, back into card art, back into default, and then back into Tetramon. Now we're going into the base folder and we're going to paste our base image. You don't have to do this. I just do this to make sure that it's there and it's set and it doesn't cause issues. I didn't do it for Laura because I was still testing things. And there we go. We now have our base image done. Now, if we want other images, say we want a first edition version of this card, we just need to slap another picture here named the exact same thing. So I will go ahead and slap an image in all of these folders, as well as the foil, Tetramon, and in these folders, and I'll show you that they're all different images. So give me a minute here and I will be back. All right, so I got all the images here in a folder. These are what we're going to be using for the test card here, and these are all just random images I found in my PC that I know YouTube's not going to ban me for. So we're just going to go ahead and throw all of these into the folders here. Only thing is we have to rename them all. So we're going to go ahead and do that as we throw them in. So there's nothing in base because we didn't do anything there. And something you need to keep in mind, if there's a specific order you're going for, like from basic and up, the order for those for the rarities is basic, first edition, silver edition, gold edition, EX, then full art. So if you want them to be in a specific order, you got to keep that in mind. If not, well then you're good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw all these images in these folders. I don't really care the order I'm doing it in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut and paste each image, throw them in, and then give them the test card name. And do that for each folder. All right, I now got my images in all of the folders. So all of them have a test card image. So now when we reboot the game, we should see the card in game having an image for the foil variants and the non-foil variants. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut to booting up the game. All right, we are finally loaded in. So now, if we go to price, cards, and we go all the way to the last card. You'll see our test card now has all the new images that we just added. Very easy, very lemon squeezy, peasy, cheesy. And then here's what it looks like in the binder, just so you can get a little bit better look-see. And that is basically all you have to do to get custom cards added to your TCG. So if anybody has any questions or any issues, be sure to leave a comment down below. I don't reply instantly all the time, but you know, I'm free to help with this if needed, as it's quite simple to me. I know some people struggle with this. So until next time, Ripshot Blue is out of here.